Another new comic book day is upon us. Let's take a look at what's coming out so I can tell you what's on the pull list. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the pull list. It's my weekly video series where I take a look at this upcoming slate of new comic books. This time we're looking at release day Wednesday, November 29th. I'll tell you what's on my pull list, as well as a few other books that are on the radar, and I'll give you my thoughts on all of them. So shout out to you if you've been watching these for a long time. Right? I think we've been doing the pull list for almost 2 years now, which is crazy. But anyway, a lot of new books coming out this week. I can't lie, man. Like it's been a slow Monday for me. Who wants to go back to work after the Thanksgiving holiday? Trying to get into the routine has just been a little bit difficult, but at least we got some dope books to look out for. Starting with the book I am most excited for this week, and that is Static: Shadows of Dakota, issue number 7. This is such a bittersweet week. Shadows of Dakota is finally coming to an end. Written by Nick Draper-Ivey and Vita Ayala, with art by Nick Draper-Ivey. And Will Quintana is doing colors on this issue, which I don't know, like, I don't know if they're splitting up coloring duty. It's typically Nick does his own colors, but anyway, I saw that on the credits, so I just wanted to shout that out. But Shadows of Dakota is technically season 2 of Static from the Milestone Returns line, and it has been, so far, my favorite book in all of the Milestone Returns line. That's both seasons. It's really dope. We basically got Static and Ebon acting as sort of dark opposites of each other, or I guess Ebon's the dark opposite. You really get the whole light side, dark side journey. They're fighting toward or with a common enemy. They've got very similar backgrounds and trajectories, but one chooses the side of hope and the other chooses the side of despair. They're going to have to team up in this issue to fight the overall threat that I don't want to spoil, and hopefully get Ebon's brother back, Rubber Band Man. So this issue, I'm assuming, will be the first full appearance of the Rubber Band Man in this new continuity, which will be cool. But ultimately, I'm just very, very excited to see the conclusion of this series. It's been an emotionally riveting journey all throughout. We've gotten glimpses of like action. We've got a lot of like good action, but I think this issue should be like that power. We'll call it a taser punch. Now, I'm sad to see this series go because this is going to be Nick Draper-Ivey's last issue on Static. Whenever the new season comes, there will be a new creative team. And man, this book has been so good. And Nick specifically has done so much to sort of elevate Virgil in this new continuity. I love the new costume, like just so much. Anyway, I can talk about the series a lot. I'm going to refrain. We'll do a whole series retrospective closer to the time the hardcover comes out in February. But for now, Static: Shadows of Dakota issue number 7 is the shocking finale with, I'm getting cover A for the cover price of $3.99, but that cover B is awesome. I'm probably getting that too. It's by Serge Acuna. And that issue, that image is clearly like that picture of Gohan we've all been drawing since I was in 6th grade and he was during the Cell Saga. Like, same pose. All you really need is like a little bit of blood coming off of this lip, and you'd be like, oh snap, I remember that picture. Anyway, thought that was funny. Grabbing all those covers. Next up on the DC Comics pull list is Action Comics issue 1059. Philip Kennedy Johnson's run on Action Comics is coming to a close. And let me know if you're like me in this instance. As soon as I find out a run is coming to an end, I kind of just fall off it. I'll wait for the reboot. And I don't know, maybe part of it's like procrastinating. Like I just don't want the issue or the series to be over. Another part of, I don't know. There's something that just flips in my brain. Like, oh, well, this is coming to an end. I'll wait and read it later. But I'm going to miss Philip Kennedy Johnson on this book. He's definitely doing other books. He's got 1059 and 1060. And then 1061 in January will be a new creative team, which is cool enough, I guess. But Action Comics has been great for the time that he's been writing it. Ever since the War World saga ended, I felt like the title just found a second win. I was hoping to see Philip Kennedy Johnson on Action Comics for like 3, 4, 5 years. Guess it wasn't in the cards, but hey, This run has been spectacular, and I am going to get caught up and read it. Cover price on this one is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the DC Comics pull list is Cyborg, issue number 5. Cyborg, written by Morgan Hampton, and the art's been fluctuating. So let's see. All right, looks like Tom Rainey is back on art this issue. He took a break from issue 4, but Cyborg has been awesome. It's been Victor Stone trying to uncover like this whole secret with one of his dad's competitors and just how all that happened. And his dad's consciousness gets uploaded into a robot, and he's got to face his like traumas and demons. It's just been really good. It's been really good. I don't want to spoil the book, but also I just love like just the overall tone of the book and some of the comic relief that we have in the form of like the Wake Up Detroit show and all that. Really, was it Good Day Detroit? I don't remember, but really, really good stuff. Shout out to Morgan Hampton on that. Cover price on issue number 5 is $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. Next up is Detective Comics issue 1078, the third issue in the Batman Outlaw storyline by Ram V and Jason Sean Alexander. And yes, there are 3 issues in the story arc, which means I am 3 issues behind. The cover price on this one is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the last book on the DC Comics pull list this week is Titans Beast World, issue number 1. Now, I kind of fell off of the Titans book after 3 issues, I want to say. Like, basically, there was this whole thing with issue 1 where like a member of the team dies. And I'm like, clearly that person isn't dead because they have their own book elsewhere. And just that fact alone just kind of made it difficult for me to get into the book. And then I just kind of forgot about it for a couple of months. But anyway, Beast World is the event they've been building towards. And this is basically like the new big event. It's going on through February, I want to say. And if, you know, you want to understand the dawn of DC or the next chapter in the overall DC Comics saga, Beast World's going to be important. They're launching all kinds of titles. I want to say this whole event is going to be like 30 issues. I'm just going to get the main 6 because I do want to get caught up and understand exactly what the ramifications are for the DC universe as a whole. And Titans, for what it's worth, has never gotten like its own crossover event. So Titans Beast World issue number 1, the next chapter in the dawn of the DC universe. Cover price on this one is $5.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it for the DC Comics on the pull list. As long as I stick to the list, those are going to cost me $24. Except I'm not sticking to the list because I'm definitely buying 2 covers of Shadows of Dakota. So let's call it $28. Anyway, who's keeping count? Not me. Well, actually, literally me. Let's go over to the House of Ideas. Over at Marvel Comics, there are 2 books on the pull list. And the first one is The Amazing Spider-Man Gang War First Strike. So this is a prelude issue into the gang war, which will get started in earnest in Amazing Spider-Man 39, 40. I don't know what the next issue of Amazing Spider-Man is. But anyway, I think it's 40. But the gang war is basically a new event happening with all the street level Marvel heroes. So Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Luke Cage, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, both of those, Spider-Woman and Luke Cage's wife. Anyway, a bunch of street level heroes are going to get like, you know, roped into this event. It's been teased pretty much in The Amazing Spider-Man for the last like 15 issues, but Tombstone's been knocked off as rocker, and the rest of New York, or the rest of the New York crime families, are trying to get, you know, make their claim as the top guy, top family, top criminal. And so we're going to see, you know, just what lengths they're going to do all this, trying to put out a hit on somebody on the day of their daughter's wedding. It's probably not a good move for the rest of these crime families. So excited to see that. I've actually enjoyed that corner of the Spider-Man universe. It's just the overall Amazing Spider-Man run. It's just been so meandering, and we go in and out of plot lines. But the gang war plot line is a plot line that I've been interested in. So I'm grabbing this prelude issue just to get more of the setup. As far as the overall event, well, we'll talk about what I'm buying from the overall event a little bit later. But for now, Amazing Spider-Man Gang War First Strike issue number 1, or it's a one shot. I'm grabbing cover A for the price of $5.99. And that brings me to the next book on the pull list, which is also a gang war tie-in, Miles Morales, Spider-Man issue number 12. I kind of fell off this series. Federico Vincentini's not on art anymore. And that's not to say the art is bad. It's just not Federico Vincentini with Brian Valenza on colors. And also, it's been tied into a bunch of stuff that kind of lost me when they did the whole Carnage Reigns event and never fully got me back in. But now that Gang War is starting, I'm going to be reading the Amazing Spider-Man issues. I might as well jump back into Miles Morales as well. So Miles Morales, Spider-Man issue number 12, a Gang War prelude tie-in, has a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it for the Marvel books on the pull list. If I stick to the list, those are going to cost me $10 this week. Now, let's skip on over to the indies where there are quite a few books on the pull list. Well, actually just 3. First is one that I shouted out last week, but I knew it. I knew that Diamond and Lunar just had it wrong. Somehow, I don't know what's going on with the distribution on this book, but Count Dante number 6, the final issue of the miniseries, is coming out this week instead of last week. So there you go. It's a funny story about this dude from comic book ads that was going to teach you like the deadliest kung fu secrets. And just, he was a real person in real life, but a lot of the stuff around his life just sounds fake, but it's not fake. So reading the comic is going to be more entertaining than reading the real story, but those are going to flip flop for you if you're anything like me. Because I was reading the real story like, wait, what? And then I'm reading the comic like, yo, that actually happened, which was crazy. Anyway, Count Dante issue number 6. Cover price on this is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the indie pull list is Darkwing Duck issue number 10. Now, Darkwing has been one of my favorite books of the year. Amanda Dibert is writing it with Carlos Sid Loro on artwork. And I love it. It feels, every time I read it, it feels like I'm watching Darkwing Duck, which is exactly what I want from any Disney comic, but Darkwing in particular. I feel like we just need a DuckTales comic at this point. But we've been slowly teasing toward the formation of the Justice Ducks. Darkwing has been very resistant to having a team work with him or work on his behalf or whatever. In this issue, basically all the rest of the Justice Ducks were assembled in issue 9. We got to get Neptunia on board in issue 10. I'm excited about it. And by the time we do that, Justice Ducks will be out in December next month. Justice Ducks issue number 1. I don't know how closely those stories are going to tie into each other between Justice Ducks, Negaduck, and Darkwing, but I'm excited that we're getting all these Darkwing St. Canard universe books. So Darkwing Duck issue number 10 has a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the last book on the indie pull list this week from Robert Kirkman and Chris Samney is Firepower issue number 29, the penultimate issue. Issue 30 is the end of this series. And what can I say about it that hasn't been said? It's a really, really fun book. This one is, it's more of an art focused book. Like, it's not to say there's no story there. There's plenty of story there. It's a heartfelt story about this dude searching to find himself. He finds a hidden power within himself. He has to share it with his family and friends to avoid the end of the world as we know it. It's the best synopsis I can give. And there are a couple of plot threads that just need to wrap up. I feel like we all know how they're going to wrap up, or at least what the end goal is. But seeing how it comes into play over these last 2 issues, how they're going to defeat this big dragon that's coming for Chicago, how are we going to do that? I don't know. I'm excited to see it, though. Cover price on issue 29 is $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it for the indie books on the pull list. So as long as I stick to the list, those will cost me $13 this week, which means even though there's not a ton of books on my list, I got a pretty hefty total at $47. Wait, did I do my math right? Yeah, $47 for my pull list this week. That's before taxes and my 10% subscriber discount. And that's probably the reason I'm not buying any of these other books that I'm about to mention. But there are some new number ones that probably should be on your radar if you're looking out for new number ones or new titles to get into. Starting with this one shot from Marvel Comics, it's Howard the Duck, issue number 1, Apparently this year marks 50 years of Howard the Duck at Marvel Comics. And so they're doing this one shot with a bunch of people from Howard the Duck's history, I guess, minus Steve Gerber. Is Steve Gerber on here? Let's look it up. Yeah, no Steve Gerber in this issue, but you could have guessed that. But a bunch of people who have worked on Howard the Duck in the past, including Chip Zdarsky and Joe Quinones, who had the most recent Howard the Duck run, are returning to give him a fun issue celebrating his 50th anniversary. So that's one thing to be on the lookout for $5.99. The next book on my radar, also from Marvel, is Luke Cage Gang War issue number 1. So like I said, this whole Gang War event is spinning out into like all of the street level heroes at Marvel. There's a Daredevil book coming. Spider-Woman's getting a new title. Luke Cage has a new miniseries coming out. A bunch of new minis. But Luke Cage Gang War is written by Rodney Barnes. And that's the only reason it's really on the radar. Like, I'm trying to refrain from buying a bunch of tie-ins and buying a whole event because we know that the way Marvel Collected Editions are going, there's going to be a Gang War omnibus at some point. So no need to buy it all now. Just wait for it to drop on Marvel Unlimited is how I feel. But Luke Cage was supposed to get an event during a miniseries during Devil's Reign last year, and it kind of got unceremoniously dropped due to some sort of controversy internally at Marvel. It was supposed to be written and drawn by Jose Anderson. I still want to see that book, but we're not going to see that book. But hey, Rodney Barnes. I have not read a single book by Rodney Barnes that I didn't like. Loved Philadelphia. Most recently, I read Monarch over at Image Comics. So, you know, black dude writing black dude. Like, this should be a good book. It's not to say that's the criteria, but it should be a good book based on what all is going on. But hey, who knows? So, Luke Cage Gang War number 1. Cover price on that's $4.99. That's on the radar too. For the same reasons, Spider-Woman number 1 is on the radar. If you've been looking to get into Jessica Drew, then hey, here she comes back with another little number 1 miniseries to tie into the Gang War. You can see her exploits and how she ties into all this. That cover price $4.99. I've never been crazy interested in Spider-Woman, so I'm not grabbing it, but you might want to. And the last book on the radar this week, X-Men Blue Origins issue number 1. Now, this is, I don't know if it's a one-shot, actually. Is it? I think it's a one-shot. It might be a one-shot. But anyway, this supposedly is going to be exploring Nightcrawler's character, possibly retconning his origin. I've just decided I'm not buying any more X titles. Like, I'm going to finish out the ones that I actually read. So, Immortal X-Men, X-Men Red, X-Force, Wolverine, and X-Men proper. That's enough. That's 5 X-Men titles. They just decided they were going to expand the line again through the Fall of X. And I'm like, nah, bro. Nah. I've spent enough money on X-Men, so I'm not grabbing this. But if it turns out that it does retcon Nightcrawler's origin, people are going to want to get their hands on it. So it should be on your radar. Other than that, cover price on it is $5.99, which is a lot. So there you go. So those are some books to look out for this week, and the books that are on my pull list. Let me know what you're most excited about, what you're excited to read. I got to say, Shadows of Dakota, hands down, will be the first book read on my pull list. After that, I'll probably read that Gang War issue and then Titans Beast World. And then, of course, Darkwing Duck. But Darkwing goes without saying. So that will be my reading order this week. But I'm excited about them all. What about you? Let me know what you're most excited for in the comments down below. Huge shout out to the channel family for making videos on this channel possible. Could not do it without you. I'll see you all in another video review real soon. Until then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.